Here we go.
Record.
Okay, I am crazy excited. Okay, this has been a couple months like welling around in my head, wondering if I should even do something like this. But as things progressed, mostly in my head, I knew that it was something that I needed to do. So before I started doing something like a little group like this, I had to do it myself. So I've done most of the stuff that we're going to talk about, okay, which makes me feel good. That I'm gonna, if I don't know or understand, I can find an answer for you, okay? I do want to start off with, this is why the group is called Willpower, okay? So it stands for Wellness and Intentional Lifestyle Living, okay? It's all things that I thought kind of embodied something that would encompass a group like this. People that are trying to do better, that are implementing a few more things that are a little more sometimes out of the normal convention that people try to do to change their lifestyle. But I like the two words, intentional and lifestyle, okay? Because things like this, I can help you as much as you want me to help you, and I will. But some of it is going to be kind of an intentional and lifestyle living that you're going to want to do. And because you're here, it's a big deal because you already show enough desire and hope that it's going to work for you, okay? So it's just a fun opportunity for me to be able to start something like this. Okay, so here's the goals for today. I want to talk about what intermittent fasting is, some of the benefits of it, and then some of the other things that you need to be aware of if you're going to be implementing it into more of a lifestyle. Okay, so all intermittent fasting is you are not eating during certain times and then eating at certain times. Okay. So the not eating and then eating, okay? So instead of eating all throughout the day, multiple meals, we're gonna switch it up a little bit, okay? And it's things that a lot of people already know and probably do, whether it just is skip breakfast or skip dinner, okay? We're gonna give it some names, and if you get confused on the names, let me know, okay? Because my goal is to break it down so it's easy to understand. And there's just some other names that this little guide gave that I liked, but if you don't like that, we'll also put these, some of the hours of not fasting, or fasting and then not fasting, okay? So, who lives a hunter-gatherer lifestyle? Does anybody live a hunter-gatherer lifestyle? That takes the time to go kill a moose or a rabbit and then bring it home for dinner?
No.
Which is really good. And I'm grateful because I'd be freezing cold right now, right? Okay, and incredibly hungry because the rabbits are hard to find in the snow. I've tried; it's really hard. So, one of the beauties of today's day and age is that we don't have to live a hunter-gatherer lifestyle, right? We have, if we choose or have the ability to do so, the food that we need. It may not be the kind of foods that we feel like we want, but we can eat, right? And so we can eat as much and as often or as little as we want, okay? So the goal is to change that, okay? A long time ago, that wasn't necessarily the way that people ate. It was more of a hunter-gatherer lifestyle, right? They didn't eat all day long, okay? So what I want you to think about during these little moments here is how you can implement this into your daily life, okay? So think about kind of when you stop eating and then when you eat. When you stop eating like at night, when do you eat the next day? Or when do you eat lunch and when do you eat dinner? So that then as we talk about some of the hours that you're going to eat or not eat, then you already kind of know, okay, I can implement this during this time, or I need to start a certain hour fast after this time. Okay, so it's going to be some intentional lifestyle stuff, and so if there are any questions or you don't understand something on how to implement it, let me know, okay? Because this is stuff that I'm really enjoying. Okay, all right. So there's some. I wanted to kind of show a little bit about how our non-hunting and gathering lifestyle works in our body, okay? it's going to make a lot of sense, and you've probably already seen it. Okay, so we eat 3 meals a day. Okay, we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay, and there's also some snacks, and maybe a couple snacks. And maybe
Keep going on the end
and
there.
maybe even another snack, right?
After dinner.
If it's around midnight, there's another couple snacks, right? So, when our body takes in food, it uses it for energy. Okay? If it already has enough energy, then it has to figure out what to do with the next round of food that we eat. Okay? And so the food that we eat, it gets broken down into very basic levels of, we're going to just focus on the sugar. Okay? So the sugar and the proteins and the good fats, right? So we're going to focus a little bit on the sugar. Okay? One of the things that our body needs is insulin to take in to the cells the sugar. Okay? And my goal is here to be way simplistic. If I'm missing something, please let me know. Okay? If I'm skipping over something that's a pretty big deal, let me know. Okay? But the goal of our bodies is to use what we eat for fuel. Okay? And so when we eat, our insulin will kind of spike. Okay? After we eat, and it kind of starts to come down a little bit, and then we eat again. Okay, and it kind of comes up a little bit, and then we eat again. Okay, and then it starts to taper off as we fall asleep. Okay, so if we're just eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, our insulin levels that brings the sugar into the cells for fuel, it goes up and it goes down and up and down and up and down. But if we're actually eating all the other meals and snacks in between, we're gonna start here, but as it starts to dip down, we eat another snack, and then it starts to go up again because it has to handle what we just ate. And so it kind of starts to taper off after lunch, and then it kind of comes up again after lunch, but then there's another snack in there, and then there's another meal, and then it kind of starts to taper down, and then we eat again. Okay, so kind of the trend here is that it's more of a flatter trend here, right? But on the next one up, the more we eat, the higher our insulin goes. Okay, okay. So our body struggles with the ability of all the sugar that we're eating. Okay, the insulin they can only bring in so much of the sugar that our cells need for fuel. Okay. So then, that extra sugar that's floating around starts to get coagulated. It starts to get packed together, okay, as fat. Okay, it's called glycogen. It's just a big word for stored sugar. Okay, that stored sugar gets stored first around our liver and other organs, and then it gets stored other places. Okay, I mean it could be stored in your stomach, arms. There's a variety of other places they can get stored. Okay. So, some of the issues that we can kind of see here is the constant eating throughout the day. That's way normal. Okay, for a lot of people, that's how they eat. So, this is where some of the intermittent fasting comes in. Okay, the eating and the not eating during certain times of the day. Okay. Yes. Good. Any other questions about intermittent fasting and what it is? No, pretty straightforward. Not rocket science, which is what we
So
like.
is it just fasting from food, not liquids?
Mm-hmm. You can, I mean, if you want to fast from liquids, I would advise no. Drink your liquids. Drink as much liquids as you want. Okay. I would also caution if you have a tendency to drink more soda, you can start weaning yourself off of drinking like non-sugary sodas, right? The low calorie, no calorie type of sodas. They have some in Walmart and cars that I've seen. And then I'd also wean off those and go to just water, okay? Because it's kind of a processed thing. They make those drinks and they kind of process them, and they may or may not be good for you. In my mind, I would stick with just water. But you may have to progressively get off of that, okay? And that's totally fine, which is what we need to do, okay? Slowly instead of making a whole bunch of huge changes, The goal is to make just
Wow.
intentional lifestyle changes, okay? All right, so I wanted to go over, so this is what I gave you guys, okay? There's probably more than 12, okay? But I don't want to go over each one of them with you. I gave you these papers so that you can know and understand these, okay? Go ahead.
So there are different kinds of intermittent fasting. Are we going to talk about those different?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
but later.
There's just different names, okay?
Okay.
If you like the names, great. I'll say the names and I'll just add the hours with them. Some people
Okay.
are more aware of the hours, okay? So one of them that I wanted to talk about is number 5, okay? Who knows what cellular autophagy is? Yes.
The biology major over here. Smarty pants.
I love it. I love it. I may have you come up and explain later if I did a really good job. Okay, I think of it like this,
Fact
okay?
checking you as you go.
You should. That's why I'm really glad you're here. Okay, so you can read what that is in number 5. Okay, there's an example of how that works. Okay, in my mind, this is how I see it working. Okay, so you have a whole bunch of there's a forest, and there's a whole bunch of trees. Okay, whole bunch of trees, and some of the trees aren't functioning very well, right? So they're there, but they're not being helpful to themselves, and they can't take out all the pollution in the air and all the things that we would like them to take out. Okay, and so in our body is the same thing. Okay, we can have a whole bunch of trees, all these trees, and that correlates to the cells in our body. Okay, we have cells that are functioning kind of like this. They're there, they've been there for quite a while, and they're in this bad rut. And we need them to pass on so that we can make new ones that know how to help us better. Okay, so what fasting does, it cuts down these trees so that our body can then use the cells that are there and make new cells so that they can then function more properly. Okay, it cleans it out. It clears out all the stuff that's not functioning very well to the ones that need to function better. And it makes when we go to make new cells, those cells don't rely on information from those dead trees. They're relying on information from those new trees. Okay, so it's a big deal when we do some fasting that we clear out some of those bad trees so that we can get new high quality trees that are getting rid of some of the pollution. Okay, how'd we do? Did we do pretty good? That was pretty simplistic, but that's a good idea. Yes.
When does that start
Okay.
in your fast?
I love it. I love it. So when we sleep at night, right? We usually sleep for whatever from 6 to 8 hours. 6. Our body needs a certain amount of time when we drew those lines. Have the insulin to spiking and dropping and spiking and dropping. We need that insulin and our body to process what we eat so that it uses what we eat. Okay. So when we go to sleep, our body says, awesome, I can use all the stuff that I ate throughout the day and use it for energy. And then after a while, after about 8 hours, it starts to use all the things that we've eaten throughout the day. Okay? And as we get more like to 12 hours of not eating, our body says, oh, sweet. I don't have a whole bunch of extra sugar hanging around from food, and so I can start using some of the stores for food, okay, or for energy. Food's not energy, okay? So as we reach the 12-hour mark, it starts to be a little more efficient for our body to use some of that stored sugar as energy, okay? And so if we can extend that out to even like 16 hours or 18 hours, that allows our body to use those stores of energy so much more efficiently, okay? And so sometimes we have to train our body to do that, okay? And so that's the goal of doing this right here, is that we start to train our fasting muscle so that our body starts to use all those stores of sugar or energy for our benefit, that we start to get rid of it, okay? There's a lot of other really good benefits to fasting in here. And I'd like you to take the time to look at them, okay? Because it motivates you to say, okay, this is really what I'm doing. If I'm hungry, remember this, okay? There's 12 of them. It's okay to be hungry. I wasn't a huge fan of being hungry when I first started. It really bugged me.
And knowing you, I can see that.
I got really annoyed. And it was nice because we were getting busier here at the office, and so I couldn't pay attention as much to it, which was really good. Ooh, it was some ugly moments there, and I'm really glad. Ooh, it was some ugly moments. So when I started to learn more about fasting, I was more okay in my mind about what it was and why I was doing it. And in the moments that I was like really hungry, I'm like, okay, I'll drink some water. And I'm okay with that because my body's doing and becoming more efficient at helping me be more healthy. And using those stores of energy like it wants to use, but it can't because we like snacks and food, right? And it's okay to like that. But the goal is to not do that as much, okay? Make those intentional lifestyle changes. Okay, so if I start to lose you, please let me know, okay? Again, these are just some names of fasts that you've probably already seen, okay? And they mostly use just hours, okay? Instead of names, they just use the hours. This gentleman used names. I need to give credit where credit is due. I found this. Dr. Jockers, okay? Dr. Jockers is, he does a lot of intermittent fasting help, okay, for people. And so you can look up Dr. Jockers online, and there's a lot of things there's some YouTube videos and some podcasts that he has, okay? So I got this information from him. So if it doesn't quite make sense, send it an email. Okay. So I don't know where everyone is at with fasting, so I'm just going to go over all of them, okay? And then I want you to decide what one you want to do, okay? If you're new at fasting, then start with some of the beginning ones. If you're feeling like you're okay with some of the, and you want to kind of not do the beginning ones and go with some of the intermediate ones, longer fasts, feel free to do that, okay? So we're going to quickly go over these, and then we'll go over some of the variations that you can have with it, okay? So, gotta get rid of the trees here, the healthy trees. Did that autophagy make sense to you, clearing of the land a little bit? Okay.
So that starts at hour 12?
At least hour 12.
Before it starts taking. So you want to go past 12 hours?
You want to go past
get
12
that.
hours. If you're new, just do 12 hours, okay? But you want to do it on a more consistent basis, okay? If you're only comfortable going 12 hours and you only sleep 6 and you got to wait another 6 hours to eat, I'd stick with the 12 hours, okay? So that's the first one, okay? So Dr. Jockers calls it the simple fast. And so it's just 12 hours, okay? Some of the things that is talked about in here is that you just stick to 3 meals, okay? No more. Oh, there's pens up here. Sorry. There's a cute little Santa mug. Thank you.
That is a cute one.
I know. It's Fred Meyer. So good. It's like $5. So if you're going to do the simple fast and any other fast, if you're going to do the simple fast and you're going to eat 3 meals a day, just do the 3 meals, okay? That's one of the changes that I would like to present to you to change, okay? Just do 3 meals. The other times, you need to drink water, okay? You can be guzzling water, heading to the bathroom a lot of times, you need to be guzzling water, okay? And the other times. The next one is brunch fast. And that one is 14 hours, okay? So if you stop eating at 7 at night, then you're going to eat at 9 the next day, okay? Yeah. Okay.
Stop at 7.
Yeah. So yeah, and then, yeah, so you go on that cycle, okay? So you just stop at 7 p.m., eat again at 7 a.m. Or 14 hours would be 9 a.m., okay? And then you stop at 7. So that's the other thing you want to think about, as kind of we talked about before. Figure out when you stop eating at night. And then when you eat in the morning and say, okay, this is, if you know you eat at like 6 in the morning, you know you're gonna have to bite the bullet, drink a lot of water, be mad, but be mad at yourself because you're putting yourself through this, okay? So the next one is the cycle fast. And the cycle fast, you're doing it multiple times a week, okay? So you can, if you need to start with just once a week, that's fine. But I propose to do it multiple times in a week, okay? The cycle fast, one of the examples is 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, okay? And at least go to 12. Try to go 14, okay, or even 16. But because this is more of a lifestyle change, some people want to do some harder fasts at the beginning. Not that that's bad. Some people need their bodies in a state where they can use the sugar stores properly. And so it is more of a lifestyle change where they do consistent 12 hours or consistent 14 or 16 hours, like the cycle fast. Okay? It's the same idea. So if you stop eating at 7, you go 14 hours, you're going to eat at 9 a.m. the next day. If you go 16 hours, you're going to eat at 11 a.m. the next day. Okay? So again, it's not rocket science. I'm just presenting them so that you can know and understand, say this is what one I want to do. Okay? So then there's a strong fast. All it is, it's instead of cycles, 3 days a week, it's every day for 5 days, at least 5 days. Okay?
Well, that is not 5. Not even close.
Okay? So you're doing the same 14 to 16 hour fast 5 days a week. Okay? And then you're only eating 2 meals a day, obviously because you skip one. Okay? One of the things that he talks about is that you're going to notice that you're going to eat a little bit more than you normally do in those 2 meals. Okay? That's going to be okay. But eat until you're satisfied. Okay? That took me a long time to figure out. Because I was hungry. And I didn't want to be hungry anymore, so I stuffed myself, right? But because I wasn't eating all day, I felt good about that. So it took me a long time to stop eating my kids' plates, and then just to focus on my own plate, and then to stop putting so much on my own plate. It took me too long, but it's better now. Sometimes I just have to get up from the table and just walk away. I didn't want to, but I kind of had to do it. So same idea as instead of 3 days a week cycle fast, you're then moving to 5 days. Okay, you may not be willing to do the strong fast yet, 5 days a week. It's okay. It's okay to start at simple fast because you are then implementing this lifestyle change into your everyday life. Okay, so the next one is a warrior fast, which sounds really cool, doesn't it? Yes.
That's the one I want.